So when you think about, you were giving this example of sort of doubt and destabilizing the legitimacy of like a trusted brand. How do you think, something like Open Origins and your work, what do you feel about trust and the human element of sort of determining what's real and what's not real?
Yeah, I think I fundamentally see my role as trying to make the situation not get worse. All the problems that highlighted there around trusting a brand, public perception. I mean, those problems will continue to exist whether Open Origins exists or not. But
And I
now
guess
there's
they
a
have existed since
yeah,
brands were just illustrated drawings, and we didn't have
yeah,
any of this technology.
yeah. But now there's a whole new paradigm of problems that didn't exist 5 years ago, and that's around establishing ground truths, right? So I work with a lot of journalists, and they are, by and large, really, really driven to arrive at the truth, to have a lot of evidence to back up their claims, when they're writing a story. Um, but there is this implicit assumption in a lot of their work that if there's a photo of it, it's real, right? That if it's been recorded, it's real. That if someone is on camera saying something, it's real. And Pixar, it didn't happen. But we're no longer in that world, and I don't think so. We as a society have accepted this paradigm shift yet, right? Like we still have this assumption of if there's a pic, I trust it very instinctively. Right?
Yeah.
I do the same, even though I work in this space, right? Like instinctively, if I see a picture on Reddit or in Twitter or whatever, I just trust
The
it.
trust is there first,
Yeah.
and then the doubt maybe comes in.
Yeah.
second.
It's only if something like really goes against my preconceived notions or something triggers my doubt that I go in and I'm like, is this real? But what that threatens to do is just reinforce filter bubbles, right? Like if you already believe in something, you're not going to question it. And now you're going to find basically an infinite amount of confirmation for your confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to ask you. I think this is a good moment to do it. You're talking about filter bubbles and confirmation bias, and I think, and protecting democracy. You see your work very, very much as aligned with protecting democracy. How far do you think technology is a cause of the sort of? I feel like there's a societal loss of trust, loss of confidence, and also that polarization. We're becoming. I feel I'm not the only one, but there's a sense that we are becoming less tolerant of different opinions. That we're getting into our corners, which is a very dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
How far do you attribute that to technology, or do you think technology is a symptom of that?
I would like to use a more specific term than technology.
Yeah.
Because using a blanket term like technology is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I would say, ad revenue supported social media as sort of the core issue here. Because the incentives of those companies make it so that engagement is more important than the state of mind that the reviewers are left with. It's not about user satisfaction; it's about user engagement, right? And it turns out that anger and division are really, really great tools if you want to maximize user engagement. We've got leaks from Facebook detailing how they've optimized their algorithm to create deeper filter bubbles to create more division. And this is a strategic decision driven by the fact that they are an ad revenue generating business. So on the plus side of technology as a whole, I do think we have a lot more transparency. We have a lot more insight into how, for example, police is behaving on the streets because we have body cams, right? Like that was not a thing we had 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, let's say. We have a lot more transparency into government bureaucracies. In India, for example, I remember a time where it was basically a black box, but now there's a lot more insight into how things are happening within government. And all of that comes from technology. But then on the negative side, I do agree that we are very polarized. We basically don't have a shared sense of reality. I think that's the problem.
I think that it comes back to what you were saying about the ITN is the touchstone of truth. that there are shared truths that we all acknowledge.
Yeah.
And do you feel that's wobbling?
Very much so. Very much so, right?
What do we do, and how does Open Origins help us?
Yeah, there's two problems there. One that Open Origins can help with, and one in which unfortunately we can't. One problem is, when something gets posted on a social media platform, on any website, we can by default start filtering out things that are not proven right. So anything that does not have a stamp of authenticity, like the one that Open Origins makes, we should just not show it, because by default we should now start assuming that it's AI generated. Because I think Alice and I were talking earlier, there was a report out recently that for the first time in the internet's history, majority of the traffic on the internet is bots now. So this came out like 2 days ago, where 52% of internet traffic is now bots.
Yeah, and it's the sort of the dead internet theory of like it's just bots making content for bots to engage with.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
that's
it's
just,
like that game. I saw that game where you had avatars that fight each other, and they just carry on when you're not on the game, and
Yeah.
then you go back in a few months later, and it's like gone at like warp speed, and it's sort of pointless as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And again, I think that also ties into the incentives, right? Where on their sort of investor memos, Facebook can show an increase in engagement. And if they can't prove whether the engagement is from bots or from humans, they can just claim we have an increasing engagement, even if we all really know that it's like majority bots. So I'm not saying that they don't have the technical skill to do it. I'm just saying that they don't have the right incentives to solve this problem. Where was I? Yes. So one is the question of can we prove
We're
whether-
saving society, Mary.
Yes, exactly. Step one. Can we prove whether this content is real? So I think one of the things I would like to see is that we increasingly move to a place where we just filter out things that are not proven. Right? Any photo or video that does not come with an audit trail of where it originated from, just don't show it. And we've actually started making a plugin that you can download on Chrome, and it will basically just hide anything that it can't find a proof for.
So
Give you a cleaner internet.
How does that work? I know we haven't got on. Let's do step 2, and then I want to challenge that a little bit.
Step 2 is the one that I can't really help with, which is we need a different economic system for how we fund these social media platforms and websites. Because I think filter bubbles are not a bug; it's a feature of that revenue model. And if you want to have a more open system where you are seeing the same content I'm seeing, which is not a guarantee right now. When you open Twitter, you see a completely different feed because your algorithm is optimized for you. If you want to have a more open system, we need a different economic system.
Yeah. I guess we don't really have time for it, but I think the sort of the idea of auto hiding things that aren't genuine could possibly take us into sort of conflicts with First Amendment, accusations of censorship, but also a loss of that sort of more creative use of AI or synthetic type of material, which is I was in the tube yesterday. When we last met, we were talking about a rhino skateboarding, but on the tube yesterday I saw an image of an elephant in the back of a lorry going down an urban street. Obviously not a real image, but that kind of works, and it doesn't matter. And I think sort of one of the things I struggle with technologically managing this is you lose that sensitivity, because the technology, will it be able to differentiate between fakes that don't matter and are actually funny and creative, and fakes that do matter and undermine democracy?
I mean, I want my comedy shows to be separated from my news content, right? and I think that's all I'm proposing here. The algorithms on social media platforms already filter out and censor a lot of content.
Yes.
What I would like to see is just a toggle. Let me pick whether I see AI generated stuff or not, rather than just having it shoved in my face without my consent.
Yes.
Dr. Mani Ahmed, it has been so lovely having you on the podcast. I'm afraid that we are out of time, but we have had such a lovely discussion today.